Yeah.
Take our 54 presidents right now, sit them in one room and say, can you undo what the white men did? They will quarrel on their way to the meeting. They will not even attend. Why? Because they enjoy the kingly roles of illegitimate power. That's why we're being abused. Because our presidents came into power to run land belonging to the kings. So there's something that happened between Angola and Johannesburg, vis-a-vis what happened in Harrismith and Bloemfontein at the formation of the ANC, that the kings of Harrismith, the kings of KwaZulu-Natal, put their monies, put their efforts to formulate this thing. Religion came in through the back door as the venue of the setting up of the ANC. Why are you going to war, ANC? We want to restore governance. We want to restore land. We want to restore the culture, the dignity of our people. Wow. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. The purposes of ZANU-PF, of SWAPO, of ANC, of Azania, of PAC are absolutely right. What do you want to do? We want to take land away from the white people and give it back to the black people. Well done. Let's go to Angola, let's fight. Let's go to Mozambique and Tanzania, Morogoro, let's fight. We'll fight. We come back one by one on the days of our independence. And guess what? Land was not returned. They went to war to fight for land. They came back on democracy. And inside democracy, the black man still does not have land.
They went to war to fight for the land. They came back with democracy.
They call democracy. And they installed themselves as the kings. And to date, they are custodians of the land. And giving it back to its rightful owners is still a problem.
This is one of the hardest pills Africa must swallow. We didn't just lose our land, we lost the custodians of it. When the kings went to war, they fought for land and dignity. But when the politicians returned, they came back with votes and flags. The sword that was meant to reclaim sovereignty was traded for a ballot box that could only recycle oppression. The tragedy of Africa is that our liberators became our new landlords, custodians of colonial property, sitting in thrones built by our oppressors. Maponga is not attacking leadership. He's diagnosing a disease, a class of black gatekeepers feeding off white architecture. We call them presidents, but they are caretakers of the colonial estate. That's why every African parliament still operates like a European franchise, laws in English, debts in dollars, loyalty in Geneva.
Was taken from black people by force of arms and many other ways. So we move from the premise that white people do not have right over land, and therefore it gives legitimacy to expropriate that land without paying a cent because land was not bought.
So we put back on the table the land question, which the ANC have managed to shelve for a very long time.
Remember, the ANC was formed as a result of land dispossession, and our people wanted to repossess their land.
The ANC had sold out in 1994. The ANC was not going to address the issues of black people. The ANC was just going to give apartheid a new lease of life.
You didn't take the mines. You didn't take the banks. You left all those things which the Freedom Charter says you must take. You also didn't take the land.
So when you look at the thinking about the land question, it's being deliberately obfuscated and presented as if African people want land to own individually, as individuals, when in fact we want the land in order to resolve that historical collective injustice that was meted against us by colonialism, you know.
Our people in South Africa had accepted that they shall live in squalor condition for the rest of their lives. As you'll see when you fly on top of Cape Town to land in the Cape Town International Airport, what then President Mbeki called the two-economy society. You have got the rich and the poor.
Currently, only 13% of the land belongs to the state. The entire 87%, it's in the hands of white people, who majority of them do not reside in South Africa. So you see a lot of empty land, abandoned land, which is just camped. You see a fence, but there's no owner there.
There is no country in the world in which you can have a settler colonial class coming to occupy the land and then usurping it. And then after freedom, still maintaining the fundamentals of that settlement and usurpation. And then the formerly oppressed class being told that, sorry, you must just accept the status quo.
And this one has been confirmed by several Pan-African states. And through my findings, I come to realize that all that they're talking today is all the truth, because Africa never got independence. Africa never got independence. They just went to sign some agreements, which was to allow and accept the continuation of colonization, just like Dr. Rikana has always saying about these issues. And now, Dr. Maponga has not once talked about the lands, because the privilege of a man is owning a land. When you own a land, then it means that you are a true man. You are a true man, and you have something to left behind for your generation. You have something to rear your family, your generation, and your generation will always grow with a foundation of the land that you are owning today.
Every man must have 2 wives, because 1 wife is not good enough. The first wife is land, and the second wife is the one who makes children for you. And if you cannot make the land pregnant, it's illegal for you to make a woman pregnant. Because when you make a woman pregnant and you don't have land, what are they going to eat? What are they going to drink? Therefore, we must teach our young men to love the land more and fight for the land more than fighting for women. Because the real inheritance that we have is the source of production. What is the role of man? The role of man is to pick up sticks and stand around the land to protect it. It is the role of women to make sure that our children inherit what she is carrying. So the role of man is to be a partner to the woman and protect the estate from other predators that can destroy the inheritance for the children. Because women may not be too strong to look after this estate. It is a duty of a man to walk around with a knob carry and a stick to make sure any thug or animal or human being who wants to tamper with the African continent and land should be kept away from our land as far as possible.
But if you can't own a land, then it means that you are not a man, because you can't breed when you don't have a land. You can't do anything. You can't invest. You can't do anything. Before the independence, before African countries got their independence, they went to fight. They went to fight with the colonizers, demanding freedom, demanding independence, and demanding their lands. But as just Maponga has said, that they went to fight, promising their people that they are going to come back with their lands. But what do they came back with? They came back with democracy, signed democracy and treaties. So they came and after coming back with the democracies, then they came and be installed as the kings, as the leaders of their nations. And that's why you see, after all that long, the African declared free states, we are still having problems. We are still having the Western influence. We are still having our resources, which we don't have say on them. We still have the democracy, which is not providing the good or best leadership to our countries and our people, but is still guiding on how we have to surrender our richness to some people. So the African leaders, together with the foreigners or the former colonizers, are the problems to the African continent, because they are the ones who are limiting Africa for not achieving the agenda of Kwame Nkrumah. Because the agenda was one, that Africa must be united. And Kwame Nkrumah said that I am too small for the African continent. Africa is too large for me. I don't just want to be the leader of this country, but I want to be the leader of this great continent. And now today, how many leaders are having such a decision? How many leaders, African leaders, are having the same agenda, the same vision as of Kwame Nkrumah? Because today, the African leaders themselves, they are not working on how to unite Africa, but they are just working on how to continue being the leaders, continue selling out the African richness, continue exploiting, giving chance and opportunities to the exploiters, continue enriching with themselves without thinking of tomorrow, thinking of the tomorrow's generation and tomorrow's future of the continent of Africa. So Dr. Maponga, I like to follow up Maponga and Professor Patrice Lumumba from Kenya, because these are the two mentors who are doing great things for awakening Africans. For the work that today the Gen Zs and Africans are doing, it's because of such certain leaders who are doing their best, sacrificing their own life, just to make sure that the message hits each and every African. So when you see the true men fighting for the African continent, leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traore, despite all the threats, despite all the hard circumstances that they have been passed through, they've never been able or ready to surrender or to quit from the journey and the war they started.
When Ibrahim Traore speaks, an entire generation awakens. Across Africa, youth are rallying behind his revolutionary message, Africa for Africans. No more foreign exploitation, no more neo-colonial control. From Burkina Faso to Mali to Niger, a movement is spreading like wildfire. The Traore Doctrine isn't just politics, it's a battle cry for sovereignty and dignity.
So, what is happening today? I always say that is not accidentally, but we connect this to the history of Africa. I like to connect this with the African history and how the agendas was there before and was made as a target by our ancestors. Those people were taken from Africa forcefully. They tried to fight. They tried to resist. But because the people who are fighting with, they are very strong. They are very strong. They are very brutally. That's why many of Africans died. That's why we have genocide in Africa. Because those people never cared about the life of Africans. They never took Africans as people. They just looked down to Africans just as slaves. They just looked towards Africa just like a place where it's only a resource field. So they felt like they have the authority over the African continent. So they never believed in any African to rise up. That's why we talk about the assassination of great leaders like Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Muammar Gaddafi. Their death was portrayed as the leaders who are the leaders of terrorists, but not the leaders of Africans who had the best visions to take Africa in another level. But the narrative has changed, whereby today, now the echoes, the words, and the living words of Patrice Lumumba and Kwame Nkrumah are still today ringing in the heads and the minds of the African youths. That's why today we are speaking to the words or towards the words of other leaders. We're speaking to the names of great leaders, because we are not speaking because they are good, because they were, but we are speaking because we are speaking about them because of what they were doing to the African continent. They sacrificed their life. They were threatened. They were even told to be killed before their death. but only spared if they could stop talking about the unity of Africa. But they believed that that's the only way to liberate African continent. They believed in the new Africa. They believed in the free Africa. They fought so hard to resist from the white supremacists. They believed that Al-Qiblan was for the black people, but not for the whites. They believed in the African richness from African soil was for the African generation, was to build the African countries, but not to build the European countries.
There is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the whole affairs.
We are having today the problem in Africa because of the politicians in Africa and the white supremacists. These two people, when they come together and join, their main aim is to destroy African continent. Their main agenda is not connecting with the agenda of the great Pan-Africans who were unalived because of the truth. But again, it's always said that you cannot hide the truth. You cannot stop the time. And because the truth is here and the time has come, that's why you see they have tried their all means to take down the current leaders who are doing so hard to return back the land of Africa to the Africans, to the black people, to return back the power to the black. But they are not able to do this because the spirits of our ancestors, which have never rested, because their agenda have never yet been achieved, is there fighting, is there avenging. So today, Africans are not fighting, but the spirits of our ancestors are reclaiming what was taken out of African continent. So, I love history. I love history of Africa because this gives me so much confidence to come and speak this. I come to speak this because there were some people who sacrificed their life just for me to survive and to enjoy and to live the best life they wanted me to live. I am so confident to speak this because I believe that I was created as a great person. I was created, and I, as a black man, I was chosen by God. This melanated skin is the main threat that today the world is finding a way on how to destroy the melanated skin, because they fear. They're in panic because they know the truth. They know the truth behind the blackness. They know the truth. That's why they tried many times to erase the black power, the black melanated souls. But because it was meant to be great, that's why they're not able. And at this time, they will never be able to do what they have been planning to do with the black people. So, today we say that the blacks are the new sheriffs in town. That's why you see today the great empires are coming back. They're coming back to negotiate with the Africans. Today, France cannot come back in West African countries in Sahel without the approval of those military leaders, because today they're the one in charge of everything in those countries. Today, France cannot go in Madagascar because the people from that country has awakened up, and now they're in charge of their own countries and their own richness. Today, France cannot go back to Haiti because the Haitians are fighting to return back and to restore peace in their countries, which was dissolved by the same France. Today, Africa has said no, and Europe is sinking because Africa has said no to uranium, to petroleum, to gold, to oil. Now, the Westerners are panicking, are afraid, are confused because their economy has been shrinked. They are today bankrupt. They are in great debts because their reserves are empty. So today, I will tell you to try so hard and go back to the history of Africa. So that, there are some people maybe who thinks that maybe people just come out to make contents, to speak about these things that's happening. Some say that we are just talking normally. We are doing it normally. We are not doing it normal. Whenever I make this content, I expect a high number of viewers so that the message could be spread. It's not that I know much about Africa, but I am doing my best to deliver what I know about the African history. And my hope is that this message can hit thousands of the black people wherever they are. Because through this, I've seen the testimonies. We have experienced many black Americans who are coming back to Africa through the message from these contents. Because they have been tried to be proved that Africa is the dreamland. Africa is their homeland. Africa is the place that they have to go back and reconnect with the spirits of their ancestors, reconnect with the DNA of their bloodline, so that their forefathers who are taken through slavery, being promised that they will never come back in Africa. And whenever they see their generations, the people from their lineage are coming back and they're touching the soil of their bloodline, they're very happy whenever they are. And they have to continue fighting for the black people. They have to continue to make sure that the agenda they died fighting for them to be approved, it's happening. We always say that Patrice Lumumba can never rest in peace when he see the situation in Congo today. Muammar Gaddafi cannot rest in peace when he see the situation in Libya. Kwame Nkrumah cannot rest in peace when he see that Africa has not yet been united, because that is what was his desire. He died. He accepted to give out his life just fighting for the unity of Africa. He was not going to benefit from it, but the entire generation of Africa was going to benefit from that agenda. And if his agenda would have achieved, today we could have not been coming here to speak about the unity of Africa, but we could have been coming here to speak about the development and the achievements of Africa. But because the agendas were terminated before the time, that's why we have to come here and consistently push this agenda through social medias, through social and any possible means, to make sure by 2050 the Africa is united, the borders have abolished, and everything that was brought here by foreign policies, by foreign powers, are no longer surviving. Kwame Nkrumah is speaking through Joshua Maponga, through Patrice Lumumba, through Dr. Rikana, through Ibrahim Traore, and through Julius Malema, and through many Pan-Africanists who today are fighting to achieve the agenda of the great leaders. Because the history will always remember the good leaders, but the history will punish harshly the bad leaders. So, where are you standing? Where are you standing? What are you contributing to the agenda of Kwame Nkrumah of 2050? Where are you standing to achieve and reclaim the destiny of the African continent? What are you doing to support the dreams of our ancestors who were enslaved and died crying for the generation of Africa, who wept for the unity of the black people across the world? So just tell them what to have the conversation. If you are new here, consider subscribing. Kindly join my membership. For those sending super thanks, I appreciate. For those subscribing, sharing my videos and commenting, keep on doing this because the agenda has not yet been achieved. Let's keep on supporting one another, sharing ideas. Let's share our thoughts across and really know what is supposed to be done to the black unity, to the black community, because the agenda must be achieved no matter what happens. Until next time, let's meet on the next episode. May you be blessed reaching from and continue being blessed always. And I love and appreciate your support. Thank you for always being here.